What's up, college football fans? Don't forget to check out and order your copy of Stiff Arming Football Myths, our latest football game plan book. So go on our website at footballgameplan.com/books and get your copy. We have these available in paperback as well as in PDF form. Welcome to footballgameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook. Bring you our Week 1 FCS Wraparound. We're going to take a look at some of the key games this week on the schedule in the FCS. But first, we're going to start off out west as the Montana Grizzlies travel to the Wyoming Cowboys.
Intriguing matchup here between the Montana Grizzlies and Wyoming Cowboys. The Grizz finished 10-3 last year and got great play from quarterback Jordan Johnson. Now they're replacing some key contributors on defense, but they are loaded on offense and will once again be a factor in the Big Sky this year. New head coach Craig Bohl comes to Laramie after winning 3 straight national championships with North Dakota State. The optimism is high here, and I must say Bohl has some pieces to work with, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Defensive ends Eddie Yarbrough and Sonny Poltasi can definitely bring it off the edge. Now, as a unit, they have to eliminate the big play. Offensively, they lose quarterback Brett Smith, and that puts senior Kobe Kierkegaard at the helm with solid pieces around him. But I like Wyoming in this ball game, and usually I'm all for an upset, but I think Wyoming is a lot better than many people are giving them credit for. I think it'll be close, but I like the Pokes. Speaking of Craig Bohl's old team, the North Dakota State Bison travel to Ames, Iowa to take on the Iowa State Cyclones. Now, the Bison are on a 24-game winning streak, and despite losing their head coach, quarterback, key offensive linemen, and defensive backs, a good portion of this staff and this team returns. New head coach Chris Kleiman will look to 6'6" quarterback Carson Wentz to lead his pro-style offense into the season. Now, for Iowa State, it's all about the defense. Can they play better versus the run? Can they replace key contributors in the secondary? Offensively, they have options with running back Aaron Wimbley and also wide receiver Quentin Bundridge and tight end E.J. Bibbs, who I think is a phenomenal player. The real question is the consistency at quarterback, and I do think the Cyclones will be better this year, but I don't see them winning this game. I like North Dakota State. Cal Poly takes on New Mexico State, and the Mustangs are one of the top teams this year in the FCS because of what they do offensively with their option attack, but they're replacing their top 3 leading rushers outside of quarterback Chris Brown, who's a tremendous talent and also a great leader. Defensively, they're a little bit light up front and inexperienced, and they're going to have their hands full versus a New Mexico State team that returns 4 starters up front, led by guards Matt Raimondo and Isaiah Folasa Lutui. Now, defensively is where you worry about the Aggies, who gave up 44 points a game last year, and they're going to have to play with discipline this week versus Cal Poly. And I do think they open up the season with a victory. I like the Aggies. Keep an eye on JUCO transfer quarterback Tyler Rogers to impress in this ball game. The Southern Jaguars were SWAC champs last year and now must replace its 2 key playmakers in quarterback Dre Joseph and wide receiver Lee Doss. The offense still has running back Leonard Tilley, who stepped up big time last year, and defensively they should be solid in the front 7, but their secondary is where they'll be tested this week by a raging Cajun offense that returns 8 starters from a group that averaged 33 points a game. Quarterback Terrence Broadway should once again be a big-time player in the Sun Belt Conference, and I would keep an eye on Elijah McGuire, the running back, who could push for All-American honors this year. Defensively, the Cajuns return 10 starters and are extremely stout up front, and look for defensive lineman Justin Hamilton and Christian Ringo to control the line of scrimmage and for the Cajuns to roll big over the Jaguars this weekend. James Madison and Maryland should be a great football game. 2 players to keep an eye on for the Dukes are safety Dean Marlowe and quarterback Bad Lee. Both guys figured to have a huge impact on this ball game. Lee is a transfer from Georgia Tech that instantly upgrades the offense, while Marlowe is a 2-time all-conference performer and an FCS All-American that'll have to play the role of enforcer this week versus Stephon Diggs and company. And speaking of Diggs, he's back at 100% and looks to wreak havoc on the Big Ten this season. The questions for Maryland start up front along the offensive line as they're breaking in some new starters. Defensively, this may be the best they've had in a few years. 9 starters return, led by defensive end Andre Monroe and safety Sean Davis. This is going to be a great Week 1 matchup, but I like the Terrapins in this ballgame to start to pull away in the third quarter versus James Madison. Delaware takes on the Pitt Panthers, and the Blue Hens have a tall task this week versus a Panthers team that looks very strong this year. The good news is that the Blue Hens are an experienced bunch on both sides of the ball, and I'm a big fan of defensive end Laith Walschlager and also wide receiver Michael Johnson. Those two guys should have a huge impact in this matchup. The offensive line is young, and that's going to be something to watch for in this ball game. For Pitt, they're solid up front and have one of the best wide receivers in the country in Tyler Boyd, who was a freshman All-American last year, and running back James Conner, who's coming off an impressive freshman season himself. Now, the question are within the defensive interior, especially after losing the likes of Aaron Donald, but I still think the Panthers have more than enough talent to knock off the Blue Hens. You'll be treated to two excellent quarterbacks in this matchup between Villanova and Syracuse, with Villanova's John Robertson and Syracuse's Terrell Hunt. And Nova's biggest challenge for the 2014 season is to improve significantly on the defensive side of the ball. Linebacker Don Cherry, however, is one heck of a football player, and he'll have to have a huge impact versus the Orange's ground game, which will be led by Prince Tyson Gully. But the biggest improvement for Syracuse this year will be in the passing game. Hunt made significant strides as the season progressed and should push for all conference honors this season. I like Syracuse in this ballgame. Their defense will be able to slow down the Wildcats' offensive attack and force them to throw the football way more than what they would like to do. I'm going with the Orange. And also, don't forget to check out every Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, College Football Now on our Football Game Plan Radio Network, located at blogtalkradio.com/footballgameplan. And check me out every Saturday as I co-host the FCS Wedge on these amazing radio outlets.